Nature Boy himself might as well be in the studio.
Hey, dude, that warm up song we have is pretty nice. What's going on, guys? It's the AJ Sports Show. We are Ace. We are Jay. We are Andrew. We are everyone. You know that is the motto here. Hakuna Matata means no worries. It's Sunday. I haven't been in a while. I look tired. I don't know. I'm good.
It's
Need some
early on
caffeine.
our side.
Need
Our side
some
of the coast.
need some caffeine here.
It's cold in California, man. It's freezing.
How you guys doing today?
Good, buddy. Ready to watch some football?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're an early bird, you could have watched. You could be an hour and 10 minutes into the London game here.
We are. Come on now, baby.
The Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the Miami Dolphins. Last I checked, it was 13-3 Dolphins. So, Dolphins are without like two of their wide receivers, their two star cornerbacks, and they're still beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. So,
yeah, I was just gonna say real quick. I was mentioning it to you guys, right? They use this London game, and they do the Mexico game too as like an ambassadorship, right? Like trying to grow the sport nationally. That's obviously nationwide, globally, right? And you send out the Jets, the Falcons, and then you send out the Dolphins and Jags. So I don't know, dude. Like I think the last game was at Wembley Stadium. I think those guys probably would rather just watch a soccer game at that point. Get the hell out of here. Yeah, look at Andrew. Andrew just got all perked up about that one.
I definitely would.
All right. So you know how they do like performances at halftime? For this halftime, do they put like a little soccer show on? Do they just kick penalty kicks or something like that?
They should. And again, it'd be more entertaining than for some people than watching the dang Jets and Falcons. Jets and Falcons the other day was bad too. Like the Falcons went over there, didn't have Calvin Ridley, didn't have Russell Gage. Cordero Patterson continues to reignite his career at the brisk age of 30 years old and drive all of us fantasy folk crazy. Hey, Chris.
Morning.
What's going on? Oh yeah, that also reminds us here. We want to wish a beautiful, wonderful, amazing woman out there that is my godmother. Happy, wonderful birthday. Love you. You are also, also known as Amto Sahara. You are. There's nothing desert about you. If anything, drop one of those S's. You are, or add an S. You are like dessert. You are sweet. You are kind, and we love you.
Love you. Happy
birthday.
So, we'll maybe keep tabs on this Miami Dolphins Jacksonville Jaguars game, but we'll probably not. But anyways, hopefully Tua time there changes the course of Miami season, because it is looking like the AFC East is going to be the AFC's version of the AFC least. With the Buffalo Bills are there, so I mean I can't really call it that, but yeah, we can get into some stuff. I guess I could start off with some injuries and stuff. We could talk about your Chiefs. Look like they're pulling up with all their players in Washington this week. So Tyreek Hill's expected to play, which is great. Obviously he had a quad injury last week. Not necessarily. I don't know to what extent that was, but I mean, usually with quad injuries you're missing some time. But he did miss practice this week, right? So,
Wait, Clyde, you said?
No. Tyreek. Yeah. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is on injured reserve, so that means Darrell Williams is up to bat, and Jerick McKinnon now his backup, the third down back. You guys talked about the Chiefs injuries last week, but an interesting one, not necessarily injury related, but Daniel Sorensen was playing like he was injured last week. He benched at safety for Juan Thornhill. What do you guys think about that move?
There was not speaking to obviously, but listening and hearing from Chiefs reporters, like they constantly beat the drum of like, there's a reason why he wasn't seeing the field. He's a third-year player coming off an injury. So obviously he hasn't shown it. I mean, from not being on the field, we assume he hasn't shown enough to the coaches who see him week in and week out. But it can't be much worse than Daniel Sorensen. Like, and speaking of Daniel Sorensen, like, I mean, as a Chiefs fan, like, and I know Johnny will share the sentiment, like he's given a lot of great moments. He's done a lot of great things, and he should be, thanked for what he's done. But you are who you are on the field, like present day, and what he is right now is just not an NFL football player. He's just not playing well enough. So hopefully Quan is just a step above that, because anything better than what Daniel Sorensen has showed is just is a step up in my book. So hopefully he brings something to this defense.
Yeah, they were talking about just getting more speed on the field in general. I think that's kind of where that move went. Daniel Sorensen, not that he's been playing out of position this year, but he's been playing in spots that aren't conducive to him being successful on the football field in terms of playing a lot of the high safety, a lot of coverage stuff. I talked about it the other day with Andrew. He's more of a glorified weak side linebacker. He's really good downhill, making plays, blitzing the quarterback. He can do some coverage stuff, but obviously we've seen the limitations come to fruition this year, especially. So, yeah, I think in general, just want to get more speed on the field. That's what Andy Reid said in his press conferences throughout the week. Mentioned getting Willie Gay some more snaps. He was a guy that we were pretty high on coming into the season. Another speed linebacker that can go sideline to sideline. Maybe you see some of those older guys maybe take a few snaps off now. So I think just in general, makeup speed is huge on defense, because you can make mistakes and then afford to recover from them if you have enough speed on defense to make up for it. That's what honestly makes the Buffalo Bills defense really good. That's what makes the Dallas Cowboys defense this year really good, is that they have so much speed on the field. They're able to, even if there is a misassignment somewhere, it's not, something that's going to lead to a 60-yard touchdown. And we've seen the Chiefs give those up time and time again so far this year.
Yeah. So speaking about the Bills, Matt Milano, who missed week 5 against the Chiefs because he never plays the Chiefs, should be playing tomorrow. He has no injury designation.
Of course he's back.
Yeah, he's perfectly fine the next game.
Milano, you scared, bro? You got some spooky people in your closet? You got some skeletons in your closet? You're not trying to get out there? But yeah, I mean, he's got the extra day of rest, so and he rested all of last week, so I mean, hopefully he's good to go. Antonio Gibson today and Terry McLaurin should be good to go against the Chiefs, so that maybe make that game a little bit more interesting. But all intents and purposes, that we probably are looking at a Chiefs, hopefully a big Chiefs win coming back from their loss last week. And then, I mean, there's a lot of injuries around the league. Chase Edmonds is expected to play for Arizona Cardinals. Jedrick Wills and Jack Conklin are not expected to play against the Cardinals. We have the Cardinals pick and Browns pick coming up here in a little bit for our primetime picks. Nick Chubb is out. He's been called out for most of this week. So Kareem Hunt is expected to play. Was questionable this whole week, though, and to spell him, you have like Felton and Johnson or something like that. So I don't.
Felton, who's a wide receiver, and Nick Chubb is apparently coming in a little bit banged up. I've been keeping track of this, obviously, for DFS purposes. But this morning Stefanski did say, like, he is coming in banged up, but they are going to give him a larger workload than normal. But again, he is a little banged up coming in. Again, they don't really have anyone else. He's in an elite spot today, but everyone's going to own him DFS wise. Just wanted to touch on that real quick because he did come in very questionable, but now he's playing and
for sure.
Be a little banged up.
And also to mention too, Cliff Kingsbury is not going to be at that game.
And their general manager and QB coach, I think.
Yeah, they had a COVID outbreak, tested, and one of their offensive linemen too. COVID outbreak, they caught COVID. Kind of crazy, still affecting people. Just stay safe, everybody. That kind of goes in. That's kind of going into probably like why like the picks are the way they are a little bit, especially with that Browns Cardinals game. But
I wanted to so bad, man.
Yeah,
I wanted to so bad. I couldn't do it though. I can't do it.
You got to also root a little bit against the Chargers, so your Chiefs can make some headway there. So the Baltimore Ravens, another pick we have in a little bit here. Rashad, expected to start Rashad Bateman today. Sidelined since the beginning of the season. Jerry Jeudy was activated from the IR, but doesn't mean he's playing today. It just means that they have 3 weeks to officially play him. So we're looking at Jerry Jeudy possibly being back in the next week or two. The Raiders, who were potentially going to be without Carr because of an injury last week, now have Mariota to back him up. So he was activated from the injured reserve. Juju Smith-Schuster is on the IR now. So the Steelers offense will probably be really frustrating. But they're also playing Seattle, who put Russell Wilson on the IR and Chris Carson on the IR. So That's gonna probably be a Najee Harris, 29 carry, 150-yard game, and it'll probably be like 17-9 or some really snoozy number. But yeah, I mean, there's some other actives and unactives that we'll find out about. Kadarius
I think
Toney
those
a
are
few
the
weeks
biggest ones,
ago,
though.
but yeah, those are the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Detroit had a bunch of questionable tags, but I think Detroit's been running out this whole freaking season with a bunch of questionable tags because they don't do probables anymore. So now when you see a questionable tag, it's
doubtful.
It's
literally
doubtful,
just
yeah.
questionable.
It was the old probable tag. So that's why, like, you may or may not see those, and you're like, oh god, my player's not going to play.
If they come in questionable, just check the Friday injury report. If they practice in some capacity, they're probably going to play. That's literally how we should go about that stuff.
Who are we hitting?
Let's talk about any people. Yeah, literally.
Hey. I'll finish your hey.
Andrew was muted that whole time and did not even notice.
I'm so tired.
Who are we? Who are we taking out, bro? I'm down. Let's go.
Well, they're trying to take out them pesky Browns, I'd imagine, who come in a little banged up too. I got a lot of Odell Beckham today, bro. We'll see how that goes. Hasn't gone well the last 2 weeks.
I drafted
Look at Andrew shaking his head because he already knows.
I told him no. I literally, he said I'm gonna play Odell Beckham. I said don't play him. He's like, he's gonna play. He's all the metrics, all the stuff. Like, he went on about like the matchup and the snaps and
he's 5,100. He's seeing like 40% of the
it.
team's air yards. 5,100. No one's gonna play him. They're projecting him for like 1% ownership.
Overthrown Maker.
How
he's got to not overthrow him like once, right? As long as he just hits him one time. And and by a ton of Rondale Moore today. That's a mini. I got 2 mini stacks that I'm. Oh god. Okay, I stop. I'm just gonna go right into DFS. I didn't mean.
Rondale Moore is the play this week, huh?
Yeah, Rondale Moore is a run back with Odell.
Do you want to do DFS plays real quick?
Yeah, we can do it real quick. Then let's do it real quick.
You hoping Baker doesn't overthrow Odell Beckham is just about as bad as people saying if Jimmy Garoppolo didn't overthrow Emmanuel Sanders, they would have won the Super Bowl.
I just need him to do it once. Just don't overthrow him.
That thing you did Jimmy Garoppolo to do it once. He couldn't do it.
Trevor Lawrence just connected with Marvin Jones for a 28-yard touchdown. The game is now going to be 13-10. And it is 13-10. So there you go. With 40 seconds to go in the half. So they're almost ready for the rugby halftime show.
Right. Fun fact: today was the first time all season the Jacksonville Jaguars made a field goal. It was like a record for NFL history for a team going however many weeks without making a field goal.
How bad can you be?
You can't even get field goals.
I was gonna say their kicker is Matthew Wright. I'm assuming the M stands for Matthew. I'm not 100% sure.
That.
You did. It's right.
Oh, yes.
No pun intended. I said that's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so
I forgot about that. The Zach Ertz trade. I'm sorry, I keep cutting out. Zach Ertz got traded to the Cardinals. I totally forgot.
Oh, you don't get him until next week though, because he already played this week. But it's a good trade.
He's good.
So Dallas Goedert wasn't getting a lot of runs so far this season, but it makes sense because Zach Ertz was getting a lot of it, and
unleash Dallas Goedert and
putting him up as bait. Yeah, I would hope so.
Dallas Goedert's so good, dude. Like, because that's the thing is when they're both together, they just cannibalize each other.
Yeah, Ertz was getting like 6 to 8 targets the last few weeks too. So I mean, they're gonna go to Dallas Goedert,
showcasing them for a trade, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean Dallas Goedert was a little frustrating to own last season. Probably more of a DFS friendly player if you wanted to play, you
stream him when Ertz is out.
When Ertz is out, yeah. Okay, so you talked about wide receiver. You talked about Odell Beckham. I got him on my fantasy team, and I also drafted Jarvis Landry. How stupid am I? But
that's a little tough. But you can't play them both at the same time. That's all.
Oh yeah, for sure. One is insurance for the other. Good morning,
Lord Lizzie.
Morning.
So tell us some more plays this week, or tell us some insight.
So here we go. So obviously I do cash and I'm dabbling into tournaments. I'm not good in tournaments right now. I'm trying to work the correlation stuff. I'm going about things the right way. The process feels right, but God, we are not hitting. I know Andrew's just dogging me over here. Okay. So for cash though, this is something that, normally is not something that we'd be talking about, but the tight end plays this week are actually like stellar for some odd reason. DraftKings decided to price Travis Kelce at $7,000. It's like a $1,300 to $1,500 savings. this is what a lot of the guys like Al specifically, Al Smizzle and Adam Levitan with Establish the Run talk about as a prove it week in cash. Don't overestimate the field, bro. The field is stupider than you think. So just because you're going to get Kareem Hunt at like 50% in double ups and you may overlap there in head to heads, like again, people are as dumb as you think. Like they will not play Kareem Hunt. There's going to be half the field that at 6,200 in a great matchup against Arizona with no Nick Chubb is not going to play Kareem Hunt. So play Kareem Hunt and let them prove you right elsewhere. So that's one of the big ones that I'm on. Again, the reason why Kelsey is at 7K and the construction is a little bit different this week is 2 tight ends is something that I rarely ever do in cash. But when you have Ricky Seals-Jones, who is only $3,000, went out there and had absolutely the stone usage with 89% snaps, had 9 targets. This is a game that they're looking to be trailing in. Terry McLaurin's coming in banged up. De'Ami Brown's status is still up in the air. Curtis Samuel's not playing. It just makes no sense. I mean, he's one of the best values on the slate. Again, though, given that the second best value on the slate is probably Travis Kelce, it's going to lead you to that 2 tight end build. Khalil Herbert is another cheap running back in cash. If you're looking for some savings, I think he's a real good play. Obviously, they don't have Damian Williams there. They're playing Green Bay, which isn't ideal, but they're at home. They're going to run the ball. Even with Damian Williams there last week, they wanted to get Khalil Herbert involved. He had 18 touches, and that was with Damian Williams fully there and healthy. We've seen this Bears team not want to give the ball to Justin Fields and really let him dominate the game. And that's going to lead to Khalil Herbert getting more snaps and getting more touches and getting more opportunities, which with running backs, especially cheap value running backs, that's all you can look for. If you can get value there and get some touches, that's really what you're looking for there. In terms of tournaments, it's hard to get away from the chalk this week, especially at running back. Well, it's not hard because you can do it, but you're going to have to eat some chalk, right? Like the running back plays are very condensed this week. I mean, you're not going to see anyone really that's worth playing in the single digits. I mean, the best play that I really like in the single digits for tournaments is Dalvin Cook. And I think that 7,700 price tag is what's kind of scaring people away. But at 7,700, I mean, he's 200 less than Austin Eckler. He's only 1,500 more than like a Kareem Hunt. I mean, if these 6K guys, and I'll get into that, a few of them in a second, hit and go big, which they very well can, score 30 DraftKings points, then Dalvin Cook's going to have to put up a monster score at 7,700 to get you there. But there's also the opportunity that Kareem Hunt goes out there. Last year, Kareem Hunt played 2 games without Nick Chubb and didn't score a touchdown in either one of them. If Nick Chubb goes out there and gets you 15 to 16, that's perfect for cash. But in tournaments, you're not winning anything. And that's where that pivoting off, and getting to a guy like Dalvin Cook, who has an upside of 40, we've seen it before, really can pay off here. The mid 6K running backs, like we said, Kareem Hunt's going to be really highly owned. Another person who's going to be really highly owned is Darrell Henderson, who's another great cash play. That he looks really great against a New York Giants defense that can't stop the run, allows almost 5 yards per carry. So Darrell Henderson's in that 6K range, but I'm more interested in tournaments at these guys like Jonathan Taylor, who right now on ETR is projected to come in at like 19%. I think it's going to come in a little less, but getting that 5% discount ownership with a guy who has, I think, a higher ceiling than Henderson. I mean, it's not going to always be higher, like obviously, in the range of outcomes. I think that Darrell Henderson can get there more often, which is why Jonathan Taylor is lower owned. But I think the sky of Jonathan Taylor is higher than Darrell Henderson if he really pops. Chuba Hubbard's another guy in that range that's going to be not his own. Joe Mixon seems like he's coming in around 12%. I mean, even like DeAndre Swift, who I think is a great play, people are playing him like 21% owned. Austin Eckler is 12% owned, and he's a guy, at 7,900. I thought that price would kind of scare people away. So I think this week, kind of like what all the other guys around the industry are saying. Sorry, I'm taking up so much time, guys, but kind of like what the other guys around the industry are saying. You can play the chalky running backs. Just be smart about what you're doing elsewhere. Like, I'm playing some of the chalky running backs, but I'm stacking them with guys like Kyler Murray, and Rondale Moore, guys who are projected to get really low ownership. Like Kyler Murray's projected for 1.5% ownership. Like I talked about last week. the odds of Kyler Murray playing well this week are not very good. But if I'm going to get Kyler Murray at $7,900 at 1% ownership, if he just so happens to flash a 40-point game, which, I mean, it happens all the time, that's what's going to separate you. And then you can afford to play a 40% owned Kareem Hunt and a 20% owned Darrell Henderson because you're already getting different elsewhere. So yeah, I think it's very doable to play the chalk running backs. You just have to be real smart about your mini correlations and your full game stacks. If you're doing mini correlations with those running backs, however you want to do it, they're playable. Again, you just have to make sure that your ownership's kept in check. You don't want anything like over like 150%. I normally try to shoot for like a 100 to 150% total ownership in my lineups when I'm building. So yeah.
Yeah, and you were even talking about Kareem Hunt. It makes a lot of sense too. He's also going to be on a snap count this week, for what it's worth. Which is why we're hearing Felton and Demetric Johnson are going to be. I don't know if I even said that right. Are going to be backing him up.
Right, and I think that for what I was just going to say is just to mention the snap count, Ace. I think the snap count is right, just because I don't think Stefanski wants to go and run him out there for 90% of the running back snaps and 90% of the carries or touches that be. But if he goes out there and again at 6,200 plays 75% of the snaps and gets 70% of the running back total touches, that's what, 14 carries. That's probably 5 targets at $6,200, especially in cash. And again, I think in tournaments you can get away with it, right? They talk about barbell ownership. You don't want to be owning guys who are all going to be like 20% and 20%. Like, let's say you have a total ownership grouping of 40%, right? And you have one guy that's 20 and another guy that's 20, right? And both of those guys hit. That's not going to separate you as much as having a barbell investment where now my 41% is I have 40% Kareem Hunt and then 1% Kyler Murray. That's going to shoot you up so much more substantially with that barbell ownership type level, as opposed to having like a straight, like lateral level of 20. Having one guy who's super mega chalky is okay, as long as you have another guy who's like single digits that can rise you up the leaderboard if you happen to hit right on him.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I've like always felt I've never unlocked my full potential on DraftKings is that like sometimes I construct a lineup in which I like, and then I'm like, oh, I still have like $700, and then I'm like, okay, well, let me see if I can upgrade here, and then I'm like, then I change my lineup, and I change or pivot for like 2 or 3 picks, and I'm like, this isn't what I picked, and it doesn't make as much sense. So like sometimes I feel weird about leaving money on the table, but sometimes it makes sense to, because like you said earlier, like sometimes the lower tiered guys boom, and some of your bigger guys bust. So
in terms of tournaments, right? If you can get the 5 to 6K range for both running backs and receivers is so huge, because if you have a 5 to 6K running back that goes off and gets you 30, and then again, like I said with Dalvin today, there's a realistic chance Dalvin scores like 25 DraftKings points, which at 7,700 is fine. But if you have these 5 to 6K running backs that are all hitting, like J.D. McKissic is a guy that I'm taking some dart throws at this week. You got to tell yourself a story in tournaments. And if I have Patrick Mahomes double stacked with Kelsey and Hill, or with Hill and with Hardman, like they got to do something else on Washington's side in order for these guys to go off for these big games. So J.D. McKissic at 4,800, if J.D. McKissic at 4,800 gets you 20 DraftKings points, which is probably his ceiling, it's not going to happen all the time. But if he gets you 20 and that mid level that we just talked about, the 5 to 6K doesn't hit for 30 plus, they hit for like, let's say they even get 27. Like if Kareem Hunt gets 27, that's $6,200. And if J.D. McKissic gets you 20, he's $4,800. Now, my next question is what did you do with that $1,400? Like if you used it to get different elsewhere and your contrarian lineup hit, then you're smashing. We're go time, baby, to the moon. But that's what makes tournaments so hard, is you have to be able to balance it out and tell yourself a story and make sure you're correlating, make sure the ownership's not too high. Your ceiling is really good. That's what I'm finding out about tournaments, man. It's really out there. And one more thing I just want to talk about, because I've had days where I don't win. Like I've had days where at the end of tournament days, I have zero. Like I didn't cash a single lineup. And sometimes when I first started, I was like, man, that kind of sucks. But no, I would much rather have a 0 than like cash $1, because at least I know if I'm getting a 0 and my build is okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, you don't want zeros every damn week, but if you're getting zeros and you were contrarian at the right places, it just didn't hit. Like last week, the chalk hit like like unbelievably, like a good Lord. There were 5 players that were over 15% owned that had over 30 DraftKings points. Like Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams, all these guys went absolutely bonkers and they were chalk, right? I wasn't going to win that way anyway because I'm playing contrarian, and those are the harder slates to win because you have to get more things right? Like I want to be able to just get a few things right. If I can just get 1 or 2 things, and that's why correlation is so important. If you can just get 1 or 2 things right, like this week, the Minnesota-Carolina game, I am so heavy on Robbie Anderson, Dalvin Cook stacks because I think that's a game that is not getting valued as much. Robbie Anderson's coming at like 6%. Dalvin Cook's coming in at like 8%. If I can get those 2 guys and just get that game right, that they go bonkers, then I'm sitting pretty because I can go ahead and move some stuff around it. So, yeah. That's my long-winded tournament answer.
Yeah, you're. Oh, excuse me, I'm getting choked up. That was such a beautiful segment. Yeah, no, it makes. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to cover. A lot of. I feel like a lot of people too who don't necessarily understand like the intricacies of everything. Maybe they play like some of their favorite players, and which is what I caught myself doing a lot last season, and it pays off. When your team is good, but like. For what it's worth, but you can't make some ultimate stack. I guess if you played the Chargers and Browns last week, you got really lucky.
Yeah. And that's a game that wasn't as highly owned, right? So, and it didn't project well. So, if you went contrarian and played that stack, like you saw that pay off in a big. Mike Williams was one who was really expensive last week, and people were really scared to play him. I had a Nick Chubb, Mike Williams stack that I got both of them, and their cumulative ownership was like 4%. And that lineup absolutely, I mean, that was my best lineup I've had literally all season. I scored like 210 fantasy points, and it cashed me out somewhat there. But I knew like, okay, I looked at it and there were a few things I could have done differently. I could have gone a little bit more chalky and ate some of that chalk. Like I didn't, that's a lineup where I didn't have Devontae Adams. I didn't have Derrick Henry. And I got to know, right? If I'm playing a already contrarian stack, I can afford to eat a 30% Devontae Adams who goes for 48. I can afford to eat a 9K Derrick Henry who goes for 45. That's where you can play chalky players without having a chalky lineup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm all with you there, buddy. Okay, so let's we'll put up our picks here up on the board now, and we'll talk about those. We had a Thursday night game, which we all picked correctly. But if you watched the Football Feast episode, our brilliant okay, I'll just stop making your head bigger. Jay mentioned that he liked the Eagles +7, and there you go, Eagles +7 paid out. So
backdoor cover, baby. Let's go, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts for QB fantasy #1, baby. Are you freaking kidding me? 25, just literally. If you ever want 25 free points in your DraftKings lineup or in your fantasy lineup, just play Jalen Hurts. 25 points. Doesn't matter. The dude had 140 yards and no touchdowns with like 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He finished with 25 fantasy points. I don't know what that is. It's unbelievable.
Love it. You got to love it. That's what you got to do with that. You just embrace it. Yeah, I mean, this game was closer at the end. The Bucks definitely had the lead for most of the game here, right? And the Bucks to me this season aren't playing like the world-class Super Bowl champs, but I think Jay's mentioned this a few times too. Like the good teams win ugly games, and this is just another way. Like the Bucks, don't need to blitz teams or just run up scores on them. They can beat them with comfortably within that spread a lot of the times. We saw them like barely beat the Patriots a couple weeks ago. So, on a missed field goal attempt. So, and them getting a field goal of themselves late in that game. So, yeah, I do think the Bucks will have some form of regression this season, just because I don't think they're going to necessarily need to win every game, because they're comfortably going to be the 1 seed in their division, and they didn't need to be the one seed last year in the playoffs. So I think they'll probably play it smart and we'll see a surprising loss here and there as the season goes. But yeah, Leonard Fournette had a big game in this one, 2 touchdowns. So yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts obviously talked about him. Anybody else on that team, on the Eagles team that you saw that you were happy with production wise?
Well, I'll let Andrew go here for a second, but because I've been talking a ton today. Miles Sanders, I don't know. Maybe the Eagles guys don't like stats. You think they do with Sirianni coming in with his Miles Sanders gets positive yardage on 98% of his carries. So I don't know. Maybe you want to start giving him the ball a little bit. Go figure.
Yeah, I've had Miles Sanders on my fantasy team the last 2 seasons. I was patient with last season. I have him this year. He just doesn't get the ball. I don't understand. Kenneth Gainwell took touches away from him when they played the Chiefs. He's done it multiple times this year. The rookie running back. I don't know. They like to get him pass catching opportunities for whatever reason. Miles Sanders showed big playability with 3 touchdowns over 65 yards last season, and just doesn't get volume. And when like Jay mentioned, when he does get volume, he produces. And yeah, I don't know what it is. No matter the head coach, no matter the system, Miles Sanders just for some reason seems to be. And for what it's worth, he's usually relatively healthy. He's been a little banged up at the beginning of his career. He missed a couple games, but he hasn't missed any time since probably week 4 of last season, and just doesn't get touches. But I mean, and the Eagles defense got a couple lucky takeaways, a couple tip passes, all of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, a lot of tip passes to interceptions. So. There's just, sometimes it is that way, and that's what kind of kept the game a little closer. But I mean, and the Eagles are always, at least in recent years, have always had a pretty outstanding front 7, and that's what I think kept them in the game ultimately. But yeah, the Bucs haven't shown, like they're a superpower just yet. But I mean, they're the Bucs. They're going to win ugly games, like you guys mentioned, and they're gonna be right there at the end of the season, waiting for whoever wants to come and face them. But give Miles Sanders the ball, please. I hope maybe I can infect some coaching decisions, because I yelled at Mike McCarthy a couple weeks ago to give Ezekiel Elliott more touches, and Zeke's gotten 20 carries in back-to-back weeks. So Nick Sirianni, give Miles Sanders the ball, please. I'm begging you, I'm imploring you, please.
Please, man, please. The Eagles have a tough schedule. I know they have kind of a tough schedule coming up. So, I mean, why not play your best players? I mean, Zach Ertz is out of town, so less playmakers to take away. Zach Ertz is not necessarily a playmaker, but he's pretty decent. So we'll see. Hopefully for the Eagles' sake, because I mean, they technically have a shot at this division, kind of, maybe a little bit. Like
no shot.
or a backdoor like wild cards, like 7th seed. Like I don't think they're gonna be there at all. But I'm just saying, it's still early on the season. They could have that hope. Okay, so after going 1-4 last week, and I think both of you going 4-1, the tides have turned on our records here. But that's how it is with football. Things change. I go contrarian a lot. I'm wild like that. The picks this week are also in, and we'll go over them right now. The standings are not going to necessarily change it too much, because you'll see a similar pattern here as we go on. So the Los Angeles Chargers at the Baltimore Ravens. So I think Jay mentioned this pre-show, but I was very close myself to picking the Chargers here, and maybe I'll sneak away before the game starts to change this pick, but so I can go contrarian. I think what we're seeing is a lot of hype around the Baltimore Ravens, and they've had really good performances this year. But this team was also down 22-3 against the Indianapolis Colts, not 7 days ago. And obviously they were like, okay, where's the Lamar button? Press the Lamar button, and this Chargers team last year, in which they would like lose all the close games at the end, have been winning the close games. So this game being a road early West Coast to East Coast, like I get that whole like you never like are super comfortable taking a West Coast team going on the East Coast, but maybe I'll change this pick. I don't know. I'll text you guys, but or maybe I'll decide before the segment's over. But I mean, the Chargers are pretty good. Slander. Okay.
A lot of this is coming off of basically what the pick here for me was coming off of what the Browns were able to do in terms of running the football and the Chargers having to go cross country for this game. Andrew, not necessarily just because I want to see the Chargers lose. Obviously, that's a little bit to do with it being a Chiefs fan, but that's not going to just completely be the bias and the reason why I make the pick. But like they're going across like, you know, like I said, across the country to go play Baltimore. Baltimore's coming off of a win where they had to play overtime to get it. Oh, he changed it. Oh boy. Oh.
You're welcome, Andrew.
There we go.
Andrew, I'm going down with you, buddy. If the Chargers lose, we're both losing.
Whoa! God dang it! They're gonna win, aren't they? Son of a biscuit.
But and maybe they will. But I mean, I think Baltimore wins this. I
think Baltimore has an easier path. Like you can create an easier path to a Baltimore win here. But yeah, I mean, both these teams. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I mean, but either way, this probably isn't going to be some 40 point game, right? I think this is going to be a closer game. We'll see. I mean, the Ravens had a flat game, and I think they're playing a little bit over their head. So yeah, I mean, but this was a coin flip. What's the line on this one, anyways? Like 3 points? 3
points. It's a pick 'em, dude.
It's a pick 'em. Yeah, for sure.
It's an absolute pick 'em. Just don't go pick 'em that we're gonna lose now.
I'll try not to change too many picks here, unless Ryan also says slander, and I'm like, you know what?
No, this is the one. This is the one I was really,
yeah, because the Cardinals are due for some regression, not because they're not the 2007 or whatever Patriots or 2009. I don't even remember my years. It's early. Yeah, I mean, 5-0 team going against a capable Browns defense who have a lot of playmakers, just haven't necessarily like been, the most like show-stopping defense so far this year. Kyler Murray obviously has been great so far this season, but he hasn't had he hasn't like been to the moon with a lot of his like stats. Like he has been grounded on some games where he does enough for them to win and he doesn't cost them the game. Kyler's pretty good about that, and he can make plays when the game is close. I think this is just like I know that the Browns are going to try to run the ball a lot, and I'm just hoping that because we've kind of seen a Browns team that hasn't necessarily like hit all of their strides as we thought they would, and then seeing how Baltimore has been so competitive this year, I think the Browns are going to be a little hungrier for this win. But that was kind of my rationale here.
Just real quick, want to say what's up to Eric. What's up, Eric? Good morning, bro. Dude, yeah. Hey, Eric, you want to throw us a little thank you for hooking out with Kike or what, bro? That dude's an absolute stud. Yeah, and Cowboys. I mean, Cowboys are playing the Patriots today. I have 2 lineups from that game in DFS. Little sneaky. I think the Patriots beat the brakes out the Cowboys beat the brakes out the Patriots. To be honest, I know Bill Belichick is always going to keep it close, but are we picking this game? No, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that's why I figured we just talk about it for a quick second. Since Eric,
yeah. Cowboys are averaging like 35 points or 34 points a game this season. The Patriots are like 19 or 18. That's all you really need to know. It means the Patriots at their best will have 3 touchdowns. Who on the Patriots would you even be comfortable with? Like, Jacoby Myers, has he ever scored a touchdown? I don't even know.
No, he has not. It's actually like he got stopped at the 1 yard line.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I swear on my life, he got.
I was just joking there. Shit!
He has the most targets in NFL history to start a career. He has the most catches. I'm sorry, in NFL history to start a career and not have a touchdown.
So it's
otherworldly how he doesn't.
So all these weapons that. And Mac Jones has been playing really well. He's been playing small ball, right? Classic, baseball pun here. But he's definitely capable. But Hunter Henry,
Hunter Henry is who I was going to say. He's running around a bunch now.
He's running a lot of routes for him.
Yeah.
Damian Harris has been a little knocked up.
He's out. Isn't he out today?
Is he out today? And Stevenson should be getting the start.
Yeah, Stevenson is going to be getting the load.
I mean, it's hard to trust QBs in the rookie years, and even though he has some targets around him. I mean, I'm taking the Cowboys. Well, you'll see in a sec.
I'm laughing real quick. Joseph, our buddy Joseph.
Jaguars have taken the lead.
Yeah,
Oh,
they did 17-13. Yeah,
Well,
James Robinson rushing touchdown. He
Ah,
just sent me
attaboy.
that PFF stat. Yeah, Miles Sanders is rushed for a positive yard on 98.2% of his attempts. Like, it's egregious.
That's awesome.
It's ridiculous.
It's
My fantasy team is dying, Nick Sirianni.
Oh, their record is what's dying. I mean,
So and then the last game, I think the Browns are favored by 3.5 points, so almost essentially
by
a
3
pick 'em
as
too.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wind in that game too. Wind. Another reason why a lot of people in
Ooh.
DFS aren't playing it, which is why I'm gonna play it.
There
That
was
just
a-
makes me kind of like I'm hoping Kyler runs a little more, right? Because
There was a really bad Cleveland game last year with wind when it was like 10-7 or something. It was
Wasn't that
really,
against us, Andrew? Remember wasn't that like 2 years
Was
ago
it-
or something when we played against the Browns? And it was like swirling winds. Like, I remember even Pat couldn't throw more than like 20 yards down the field or something.
Elsa needs to calm down. Shoot.
Yeah, I think it was in Cleveland.
Christ, dude.
Hey,
Anyway, Broncos.
Jesus.
So we all have the Las Vegas Raiders losing to the Denver Broncos.
Frauds.
Okay, so I haven't been high on the Raiders. Even after week 1, I think when we were doing like our week 2, when we were doing like MVP thoughts, you guys both had Derek Carr in there, and rightfully so. You know, he was playing out of his goddamn mind for the first few weeks of the season. But you know, I've been kind of like steadily picking the Broncos here and there. I picked them for Survivor Challenge. The Broncos to me are the safer bet here. You know, two reliable running backs that they can get. You know, they can feed. They don't have to. You know, Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have to do a ton. He should have success against this Raiders defense. Obviously, the Gruden-less Raiders have have a chance here to be like, let's play for our new coach, you know, our special teams coach. I don't see it. I mean, I think it would be different if like maybe the Raiders were like 0-5 to start the season and they were like trying to rally for a win here. But I comfortably picked the Broncos and didn't think twice about it.
Yeah, that's exactly the decider right there. There's a big difference in a head coaching turnaround where you think a team's going to be inspired for a win, and when they like if they were 0-5 and they rally the troops. But this is a situation where Gruden's an idiot, and the franchise has to pick themselves up by their bootstraps and try and not be more embarrassing than they already are. Even though they released an article last week, I mentioned on the thing. They said Mike Mayock will take over responsibilities as like when it comes to like
stupid is that
franchise decisions. It'll be 51-49 split, even though before it was a 49-51 split. I don't understand why that has to be differentiated by a 2% margin to let people know you guys are morons and you got to lose in Denver. Go to Mile High and you're going to be stuffed a mile into the ground. See you later, Raiders.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
I wish they could both lose. That's the only thing. I think Andrew, our resident Charger fan, would agree. Just let both of them take L's. Moving on.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next pick here. The Russell Wilson-less Seattle Seahawks are going on the road to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Talked about this game a little bit earlier here, but I think this is going to be a pretty boring game. I mean, I could be wrong. Najee Harris has definitely been a workhorse. A lot of Chase Claypool loving. I'm seeing out in the world. Because obviously with Juju Smith out for the whole season. Chase, I think, has been averaging 9 targets a game. Second year guy. He's quick. Seattle's defense. You couldn't put enough players on this field. You could put 12 players on this field, and they still would just look like absolute like dingus. Like they've been just absolute trash. What's his name? Team Chiefs captain would have a phenomenal game against the Seattle Seahawks defense, which is just wild to think. So I mean, I think the Steelers will play this safe. They're well coached. They're smart. They know what to do. They know how to win games. Even though they're Roethlisberger is looking more like a burger these days than a QB in the league. I think they have enough to win this game.
Yeah, looking like he's seen a few burgers. No, so so for the game, yeah, the Steelers are going to win. Like Russell Wilson has been keeping this franchise afloat for the past like 4 years. It's been absolutely ridiculous how bad this franchise is. And the Jamal Adams trade, I know that everyone likes Jamal Adams and Jamal Adams is great and everything. That was an absolute debauchery. I mean, good Lord, you don't know what you're doing. Can I take you guys on a little narrative track, right? And I know this is real early in the season.
We're allowed to say no?
No, not at all.
Carry
on. Check me out. We might be
As you
talking
were.
about this. Right. We might be talking about this at the end of the season. You know, if something happens where, you know, the Seattle Seahawks don't win enough games, they're in a tough division, you know, tough conference in general. You know, we've heard rumblings about Russell Wilson, you know, maybe departing from Seattle. I think this is an opportunity where Russell Wilson will be back at the earliest 1 month for everyone to really see how big of a fraud those guys in Seattle really are, because this team is bullocks. This team is very bad. This offensive line is not good. They haven't drafted anyone worth a noting since DK Metcalf, and even that, I mean, you got to be an idiot not to see that. He was a physical freak, okay? And defensively, I mean, good Lord. Bobby Wagner is trying everything he can. Dude makes 20 tackles a game. There's no one over there. So I'm just saying, this may be, if we're looking back at the, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but at the end of the season, we may be looking back saying, oh, you remember that Russell Wilson injury? Okay, we saw how bad Seattle really is. Just keep that in mind in case he leaves. Just saying.
Yeah, well, you're already inceptioning us right now. I just made up a word. Oh yeah, no, I'm with you on that. We forgot about the Russell Wilson talk because Aaron Rodgers, pansy ass, this whole offseason took over the you know, all the drama and you know, because he's very good at quarterback. Yeah, I get it, Aaron. Go be the Jeopardy host. They need one. The other guy, the guy that they chose was a creep apparently. So
I like the girl.
No. Oh yeah. No, their executive producer, he has to be replaced again. He had a lot of like skeletons in his closet come out about like being racist and stuff like that. So I don't know if you guys heard that or saw that.
I did not, but that's awful. I mean, geez, it just more and more of that apparently just keeps coming out with a lot of people.
It's not, you know, it's not hard for people to find your history, your dirt. Okay, but anyways, we'll stay on task here. So the Steelers and Seahawks is the Sunday night game, and then the Monday night game is the Bills at Titans. So I'm a little worried about what Derrick Henry brings to the table here. But in my opinion, I circled 2 games this year that the Bills needed to play out of their minds and, you know, make up for pretty bad losses last season. It was the Chiefs and it was the Titans, and they played them last year, week 4 and 5, and lost both games. The Titans embarrassed us a little bit on a delayed week because they had a COVID outbreak. They were without several players. Derrick Henry, you know, famously, because no NFL highlight clip won't let you forget it. Stiff-armed my boy. Forgetting his name. Josh Norman. Yeah, I was gonna say he's not even on the team anymore.
Yeah,
he's not my boy.
He was
Screw that guy.
He's a bum.
So I expect the Bills to, you know, they're not going to say it. They didn't say it last week, but they're playing to win this game to make up for last season. The Bills essentially brought back their entire same lineup as last year, you know, minus John Brown, and upgraded with Emmanuel Sanders. I think the Bills defense has been playing obviously out of their mind. I do see like there's going to be a little bit of regression at some point. You know, they're not going to necessarily be the number 1 defense this whole year. Maybe they will, but they've been playing great. Matt Milano's back. We tend to win every game when Milano's there. We were 10-0 with him last season. We did lose once in the playoffs with him, but whatever. It is what it is. The Bills will probably put up a 30 burger against this Titans team. I'm not 100% worried about this game. It'll probably be like a 35-28 game or something like that. But the Bills have proved that they can win tight games. Obviously, you know, with Captain Allen at the helm. Yeah, I mean, Ryan Tannehill has not played great this season. You know, Julio Jones is potentially going to play, but on a snap count. AJ Brown. I'm like, why am I saying Adam? AJ Brown has said too that he's going to be limited until probably like week 10. So like another month of 2 limited playmakers on their offense, kind of relying, you know, having to rely on just Derrick Henry essentially to be like their main guy. So yeah, I'm not. The Titans don't like, you know, give me overwhelmingly joy to try to pick him. I would never have picked him anyways. Go Bills.
Yeah, I think on paper coming into the season, it looked like a better matchup. It definitely hasn't shaped up that way. The Titans haven't really looked like, obviously with the addition of Julio Jones, there's a lot of hype surrounding that and what Tannehill could possibly do and what Vrabel could, turn this offense into. We haven't seen it yet. I don't think against the Bills is the time to do it. I'm sure they're going to try and lean heavily on Derrick Henry, but obviously that can only go so far if this Bills team can put up points the way they did against Kansas City. And I mean, albeit Kansas City's a bad defense, but so is Tennessee. And especially if they can put up points without having to throw. They 6 completions of Josh Allen's passes against the Chiefs went to Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and Emmanuel Sanders, and they put up 38 points. So putting up points, is not going to be a problem for Buffalo. And I just don't think Tennessee has the recipe this year to beat a team like this. And I mean, this defense looks primed, especially. And I think Jay touched on it last week, and it's something you mentioned to us when we were watching the game, Ace. Like the 9-man rotation of the defensive line is something that I haven't really seen before. And I think if that's something that can stay consistent, that's what will allow your defense to stay fresh and stay a number 1 defense. And honestly, for I have them on my fantasy team. So for that sake, I hope they stay the number 1 defense because they've helped me out a lot with 235 points, 235-point performances so far. So hoping they repeat one on Monday night, and they kind of get an extra 24 hours of rest because they played Sunday night and now they're playing on Monday night. So they get a little bit of extra rest to get, I guess on a plane ride maybe, but go Bills here.
Let's go.
Yeah, the Bills are the much better football team. So I'm going to go everything you guys just said, 100% warranted, 100% correct. The Bills are a much better football team.
Yeah, Bills have outscored their opponents by 108 points this year, which is 40-something more than the Arizona Cardinals, who are undefeated. You obviously got to play your schedule. The Titans are only +2 this season, so pretty middle of the pack. They lost to the Jets, so just don't forget that. Okay, so Survivor picks week 6. The cemetery is constructed. Who knows if we're all gonna join that again? If we're gonna have to buy some more plot of land to just keep building. Jay did get the tombstone last week, even though the Titans won. So you have to remember who you picked.
What a dumb.
Anyways, I mentioned this earlier. Cowboys average 30+ points a week. The Pats don't even get past 20. I think the Patriots will lose this game probably by 10 points. Dak Prescott season. Andrew's been calling it every week.
Okay.
Dalton Schultz has been playing really well. This is a balanced offense. Zeke has been getting 20+ carries. Tony Pollard has been getting at least 10 carries or so a week, be it by receptions or runs. So I think they're really, really concentrated on how balanced they are on offense. They have lost a couple close games. Mind you, that's going to happen to any team any week. I got the Cowboys here.
Great pick. I want to mention too, just so that way I made sure that I'm in the mud here just as much as Jay, because mine's actually a little bit worse. I picked the Panthers, and even though Jay has 2 tombstones there, the Titans won last week, so at least he picked a winning team. The Panthers, not only did I pick them twice, they also lost. So
yeah.
Maybe I deserve a second tombstone or like a written memoir above my tombstone that says this guy's an idiot. But I'm going with the Chiefs here. Hopefully in a get right spot. The next 2 games line up nicely for them to get back on track and return back to Arrowhead in week 8 with a winning record. I really hope I'm right on this because I don't know if I can handle this if they're going 2-4 and I gotta put them in the grave here. I might lose it. So, oh Chiefs, please.
Yeah, no, they're staying up, dude. I'm very I'm feeling pretty good about today, but desperate team. I'm gonna go with the Broncos. Don't ever love picking a division person, so I might as well pick them when they're playing another division guy. With the Raiders coming in super discombobulated, interim coach coming into Mile High, I'll take the Broncos all day. For what it's worth, everyone talks about how great the Raiders defense is. They do a good job of getting back after the quarterback. Besides that, it's not very good. So what happens with Teddy Two Gloves? I'm putting my win in his hands, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, could be a little scary. Okay, so we covered our primetime picks there. We covered our Survivor picks there. We are almost about to wrap up here. We introduced this a couple weeks ago. Say something bolder than your coffee, which won't be hard for me because I didn't have coffee with me this morning, so I could just say anything and it will be bolder than my coffee. Have you guys? I don't think any of us thought about this before. We hopped on here. Do you guys have any? You guys ready to roll these bold takes out?
I'll let Andrew go first. Mine are going to probably be DFS related, just FYI.
Okay.
The dear Lord, of course they are. Oh, real quick, can I say? Okay, I made a like quick tournament lineup. Cross fingers while you guys were doing the DFS thing, real fast. I said not to play Odell Beckham Jr., but I'm going to play Odell Beckham Jr. in the tournament lineup. I got Sam Darnold, Kareem Hunt, Darrell Williams, Odell Beckham, Jamar Chase, Cedric Wilson, Travis Kelce, Dalvin Cook, and the Ravens defense. So go Ravens. Just want to let you guys know my bold take. Kansas City Chiefs defense will allow fewer than 10 points and fewer than 250 yards of total offense against the Washington football team, and they will win the game by more than 3 scores. Burn it into the piece of wood, place it wherever. Bold take, KC defense, less than 10 points, less than 250 yards of offense. Get out there and go win a football game, damn it.
I mean, that's pretty bold. I would say that's...
Go win the game.
It's pretty bold. Okay. All right. Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna go like a parlay structure just to help my my fantasy hopes. I'm gonna say that all 3 of Rondale Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Odell Beckham score touchdowns today. All 3 of them.
Okay. That's I'm with that. I'm with you on that. Okay. I'm gonna choose. I'm gonna keep touching this button until it happens because I was close. The Detroit Lions are gonna win today. They have almost won twice on field goals. My God. Okay. Jared Goff and DeAndre Swift hook up for a receiving touchdown. DeAndre Swift has 3 touchdowns. I'm not gonna go 4. DeAndre Swift has 3 touchdowns. The Detroit Lions win their first football game, 27-25. Let's go. About time.
Spicy
About time that this damn happened.
The narrative you're going with the constant trust in the DeAndre Swift here, I like it. You're just trying to, force feed the you're trying to force the destiny, force the issue. I love it.
I'm all about manifesting your own destiny. I'm also about relaxing on a Sunday morning. So with that, I will say let's just go enjoy our Sundays. Jay, you probably have done too much thinking over the past 24 hours, so try to calm your brain down. All the good juju in the world to you guys. Hopefully the Kansas City Chiefs blow out the Washington football team. I don't have a doubt in the world that they won't. Andrew, you are my guy as well, man. Not you, Andrew. The other Andrew in the comments. Let's go Chargers. I'm rolling with you. Take out those Baltimore Ravens. I've been hating on the Ravens enough this season, so it makes sense for me to go against them here now. But yeah, I liked how you ended the last show. By the way, Andrew, you were like, he's been Ace, or he's been J. I've been A, and I've been A, or something like that. That was pretty nice. Would you like to end it that way too, Andrew? I'll give you the floor.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Wait, hold on. Never mind.
That's been Jay. That's been Ace. I'm A. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye. That was truly beautiful.
Really beautiful.
Oh, thanks, man.
Go Chiefs, go Bills.